Welcome to the weekly wind down. I'm your host, Monique J. Our show's motto is real women, real talk with real growth. Our discussions are real, it's our real thoughts as well as our real opinions. Now we know everyone won't agree with us, but our goal is to provoke thought, incite meaningful conversation between ourselves and others. So what I want you to do is grab your glass of wine or your drink of choice. Speaking of wine, we are always looking on our show for liquor or wine sponsors and advertisers who would be interested in having their product featured as our wine or drink of the week on the show. But in the meantime, get ready to get your glass of wine or drink of choice before we come back with our special guest for today, Miss Nicole Sargent, aka the Travel Sergeant. She's coming back to have some girl chat with us here on the Weekly Wind Down. Welcome back to the Weekly Wind Down. Before we move forward, I want you to join in on our conversation by using Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook with the hashtag #TheWeeklyWindDown, FAWOC. Now, on this week's episode, we are having girl chat. I've invited one of my great girlfriends to the show to just talk about things that affect women, that affect relationships, friendships, and we just want to have some low down, real conversation as if nobody is here, things that you may want to talk about or that you talk about with your friends or answers that you may want to have. So what I want you to do is sit back, relax, as I bring on my special guest, Miss Nicole Sargent. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
AKA the Travel Sergeant. Now, can you tell me why they call you the Travel Sergeant?
Well, they call me the Travel Sergeant because, one, I grew up in the travel industry. Okay. My mom worked for one of the major airlines, and I've been traveling for over 30 plus years.
Okay, you don't even look 30 plus.
Oh, thank you. You silly. And then now God has truly blessed me with a job that I travel all over the world, so I get to see different things and then do different things as I progress my career. So that's why I am known as the Travel First, and then God blessed me with a wonderful husband with the last name of Sargent. So there you go, the Travel Sergeant.
Oh, so that kind of went together. Go ahead. You got to pick a man with the last name that match.
Always taking charge.
That's why I'm looking for a French husband, you know, since I'm Monique Genet.
Yeah, right.
If I get a husband, Dubois or something, it'll just go together.
Oh, I like that.
So then I can be, well, no, we're not. We're going to get off of that. All right. So as I said on the opening of the show, we're having girl chat. You know, it would not be a good girlfriend conversation, especially when we got wine involved or any kind of drink involved, if we just didn't get down to the nitty gritty. So I do want to ask you, are you okay with, you know, taking the veil off, keeping it real with me today and having some good conversation that hopefully when we both walk away from this table, you know, we'll feel as though we've learned something, grew as individuals or grew as friends. Are you open for that?
I am definitely open because I love to educate others from my life experiences and always keeping it real.
All right then. Well, so let me first ask my first question. Do you still have friends from when you were a child? So just say elementary school, middle school, high school. Do you still have any close friends from those stages of your life?
I do. Actually, I still have my best friend of 40 plus years. I'm not going to throw out my age, but we met back in Chicago at the age of 3 at Mayfair Dance Academy. Okay. So we are still friends and we are rolling till the wheels turn up.
Okay.
Knock off.
Right. Or something. Till the wheels do something. That's what we gonna say.
Yeah.
And I asked that because I've always wanted to know, do people stay close as friends, especially when you start out from a young age? Do you stay close out of obligation, loyalty, or do you feel that you and that particular friend grew in the same place, in the same space to where you can still have a close relationship now while you guys are in your 40s?
I think it's a combination of many things, you know. I do believe that as you grow in life, you know, there is a reason and a season for everyone in your life. And one of my great pastors, I do believe that it was Freddie Haynes,
All right.
said that
I love Freddie Haynes.
everyone isn't growing where you're going. So I've lost some friends, or shall we say associates, along the way, but it's all in God's plan, and the ones that are still here, we are rolling till the wheels fall off.
Okay, so you don't feel obligated. I'm gonna, what we say, we're keeping it real. I'm gonna keep it real. I have, not now, but up until probably 4 or 5 years ago, I had relationships with people that I've been knew, I outgrown, and that I should have let go of. But I did not want to seem as though I thought, as I went into the next phase or stage of my life, that I thought I was better than them, which is why I was removing them or kind of releasing them from the closeness. Now, we could still be associates, but I really did. I was holding on, because I am, like you, from Chicago, and I'm from the south side of Chicago. Not a good area, and so you have, those friends that, you all came up in the dirt together. But depending on what your parenting was like, or what your goals, independent goals were, you may have, went here while they're still here. That's why I bring up that question. I always say, even when you look at people who go pro in sports or celebrities, they have this big entourage, and it's usually from their middle school friends, their high school friends, their homeboys or homegirls, and they bring them along with them. And I really think it's that same kind of obligation or loyalty too. What do you think?
I think, one, I've learned many years ago that you can't use the word friends with everybody. I've been burnt before college and in college and everything. And then so I've learned that everyone is not your friend, and your true friends, which I now call my sister friends, as you are one of my sister friends. Your true friends know your heart, know your goals in life, and know where you're going in life. Do I feel bad about some of the friends that I lost? No, I just actually pray for them, and I wish them the best. And if they don't understand where I'm going and I'm growing to, that just means that they really did not know who I am. I've been in the same situation as you. I lost a friend of many years. I don't feel like I'm better than anyone. It is just that we all have different goals in life. It's some people that haven't even left their side of town. Because they don't even want to think outside the box. So they just like minimize their mind to just one place. When there's a big world out here.
And you don't know what's crazy is because then it's like they get mad at you for having vision, and so then you're confused, or you're kind of torn, because you're like, do I diminish my light for somebody else to be able to see? Or do I continue to allow my light to shine so that I can grow to the plateaus that God sees and plans for me? Because we all know, regardless of whatever happens in your life, is God's plan.
Exactly.
Whether or not you slow that plan up is up to you. And so I did want to, ask you that question and talk about that and kind of touch on that a little. Hopefully, the viewers out there will start evaluating their relationships. I'm not saying kick your friends to the curb or nothing like that. I'm just saying, if a friendship or relationship is not growing you, it's one that you need to let go of. That doesn't mean throw them away. It just means put them in the back of the closet. I have a saying: everybody does not deserve to sit in the front row of the theater of your life. Yes. Some people make noise, too much noise. And so if they in the front row, how you gonna see the movie?
Exactly.
But if you put them in the back and allow you can go back there and visit them sometime, but you are up front getting all the knowledge and education that you need. So Nikki, I'm just gonna say she's the travel sergeant, but I call her Nikki. Nikki, thank you so much for answering that question and kind of dealing with that topic with us openly. I want you to relax, go on, take you another sip, as well as I want you guys, if you've drunk up your glass of your drink of choice, Get ready to go fill it up. We'll be right back with you with our next segment on the Weekly Wind Down. To the Weekly Wind Down. I'm your host, Monique J, with my very special guest today, Miss Nikki Sargent. Nikki, again, I want to thank you for being willing to be open and candid with me. We were talking about friendships in the first segment. I wanted to kind of piggyback off of that and ask a question that me and my sister actually had a discussion about, and that was whether or not, or she doesn't think that it's possible to become close, lifelong friends with someone that you meet in your adult life. She thinks that that would happen more, what I want to say, unconditionally with someone who has known you since you were younger, because they will know what you've been through. They'll know your struggles. They'll know that wherever you are at now, it didn't just come easy, and which means they won't form jealousy or envy, which we know happens all the time in friendships. And just from my experience, it's really only happened with me with people who I've known less than 10 or 15 years. So what you think?
I think that you definitely can become great friends with people that you meet in your adult life. And I'm going to use you for an example because you are my sister friend. And again, everyone isn't growing where you're going or going where you're growing. And I think that you and I, we complement each other well, and we help each other through different things. And we bounce different ideas off of each other. And we didn't even know each other,
Right.
It was one of our friends in Chicago that introduced us, told each other about one another, and then so knew that we were in the same city
Right.
together. And here we are now almost 10 years together, and my life wouldn't be the same without you.
And I'm going to say thank you, and then I'm going to say I totally agree. And I think that's a big part of the whole situation that I was speaking of. It's just understanding relationships, understanding friendships. No one person is bigger or better than the other. Everybody has something that they're strong in, and people have something that they're weak in. Exactly. If you come together in a friendship or even in a relationship, what you're doing is bringing what your strengths are to that relationship to hopefully make each person individually stronger. But when we say that, what the key thing is the maturity level as well as the love for yourself within.
Yes.
If you do not love who you are, there is no way you're going to praise who somebody else is, especially somebody who you know and somebody you can put your hands on. Now, what I found, and you tell me if you agree, your friends and your people way more willing and quick to praise Beyonce and who else? You got Cardi B, you got any celebrity. They are so quick to praise them. And those are somebody's friends from young, but why would you be willing to give the praise and the support to people who you don't know, but the people who you know, who are trying to pursue whatever goal and dream that is, you're not going to share a post that they put that they asking for support. You ain't going to say they shoes cute. You're not going to like nothing about them because you have some type of jealousy or envy in you for yourself, because it really ain't about the other person. Do you agree with that, or what you think?
I think that, society, but also the person has to be happy within themselves first, They can be happy with the Beyoncés, the Nicki Minaj, the Cardi B's and everything because, they're not seeing that person on the regular, They're not having those conversations and everything. Now when they have someone close to them that can possibly help them to grow their lives and everything, they could hate on them because you're just trying to help them. I was told by someone that I recently met on my travels, we were just having a basic conversation, and he said to me, you are a fixer, you are a problem solver. I just like to pass on the blessings that God blesses me with. I tell myself every lesson is a blessing. Whether it's a mistake or anything, you know, you just have to learn from that experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, you know, especially us as black women, we kind of beat up on each other more than I think any other race of women in relationships with one another. And it's the weirdest thing to me, but it's also proof that slavery did its job. We are supposed to not like ourselves. We were taught to not, you know, believe that what we have to offer is anything good and beautiful. So we kind of look at each other as competition instead of as teammates. And that's what we should do, especially for us, like I said, as blacks. If we came more together instead of acting as, like the crabs in the barrel, and we clawing and crabbing at each other as if we all can't get out the barrel at some point in time. And I congratulate or applaud slavery, but now I'm upset and angry with us because we haven't figured out that as long as we continue to stay separate, as long as we continue to fight each other as sisters and as brothers, we are never going to reach our full potential because nobody makes it anywhere by themselves. Welcome back to the Weekly Wind Down. I'm your host, Monique J, with my very special guest, Miss Nikki Sargent. We talked and we said that this segment is going to help grow us and help basically, hopefully, get us to look and hopefully if we're someone who is acting in the ways that we just said we don't like, we'll see some stuff within ourselves and hopefully work to change that. I think that a big part that plays a big part, I'm going to say, in all of the things that we discussed earlier is the concept of faith and fear. I think lack of faith and having fear prevents us from growing. Do you agree? Or let's just say what the definition of faith is. Faith is the belief in the unseen. And fear, as I define, is being afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. Do you think that both of those play concepts or play roles in the whole friendship concept and the jealousy and the envy issues that we discussed earlier?
Definitely I do. Definitely. For me, the only person that I fear is God. You know, God has brought me through a lot. You know, I know that's not church, but I'm just keeping it real here on the Weekly Wind Down.
Hey, we stay praising God.
You know, growing up on the south side of Chicago, you know, I feel like I'm on my third life now. You know, I was involved in a shooting, my first accident, and then so I lost a friend. The second accident, I was hit by a fire truck on my way to teach a dance class. So it is that I walk by faith each and every day. You know, I moved to Dallas after being unemployed. I moved here on an unemployment check and faith.
Okay.
And I am now here going on 10 years. So it's just, again, I am not a person that I'm settled, I am content, and you just have to believe in yourself, you know, whether your God is the same God as mine or anyone that you may praise, you know, you just have to have faith and then know that you can do it, you know. And I think that family also plays a part in it. You know, I grew up in the church. Okay. You know, so I was on the usher board. I was in the choir. I was in the praise dance. I did all that. But just seeing things happen, you know, just believing for something and then seeing these things come into life, come into fruition, and you're just like, wow, that was nothing but God.
I totally agree, and I brought up the faith side of things because I think, of course, having faith, but the fear of failure is what prevents some people from doing the things that those who are willing to sacrifice the fact that they could fail for the possibility that they can achieve. And so I think being fearful of that is what stops them, and then that fact that they know that that's stopping them makes them jealous or envious of someone who is not stopping.
True.
And so that's why, to me, fear as well as faith play a role in all friendships, as well as male-female relationships. If you're, homosexual, whatever relationships that you're in, the lack of faith and the high ability of fear is what always seems to come into play and mess both of those things up.
Yes.
Or mess the relationship up. So that leads into my whole theory and thought process of you have to let go to grow. You have to, of course, we said, have faith.
Yes.
You have to let go of the fear of the failures that you may have had in the past,
yes.
Your life situations that you may have experienced. You may have grown up without a parent, without a mother, without a father. You may have grew up where you didn't have, certain things. Like I say, and I share this with people all the time, my whole 4 years of high school in the city of Chicago, my mother couldn't afford to pay the gas bill, so we didn't have gas. I went from freshman year to senior year boiling water to take baths, cooking on a hot plate, and using kerosene heaters and radiators to heat up the rooms in our house. But I have faith.
Yes.
As well as my mother had faith that if I continue to push my child towards education, she will turn that education into a situation where she will never be in this same position. But if she does, she'll know to reach, hold on to her faith, and understand that being fearful of something or failure will stop her from ever achieving whatever those goals are. So that whole concept, or that whole idea of letting go, I could have held on to, look how life is so hard. It was so hard for us. We're not going to never be able to do nothing. Right. No. In order to propel to the levels and the heights that you see for yourself, first of all, but you got to have that vision for yourself. You have to let go of any negative things that could possibly happen to you or have happened to you. So again, Nikki, I just want to thank you so much for being willing to speak with me today, with your shades off. You got glasses on, but your shades off. And just talk candidly and share with me, as well as those who are viewing the show, your thoughts on our subject matter today. And if you want, relax. We're coming back. We're going to close the show out. But I don't want you to leave just yet. Okay. But I want you all, hey, why not fill up and get one more glass before we end this show today? But I want to thank you again. Make sure you come back to the Weekly Wind Down. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Weekly Wind Down. I'm your host, Monique J, and I want to thank my very special guest today, Miss Nikki Sargent. Nikki, before I let you go, I would like to ask if there's anything you'd like to say to our viewers, as well as I want you to share your social media, so if anyone wants to follow you to get those great traveling tips.
Well, I just want to thank you, first of all, for having me on the Weekly Wind Down. It's very nice wine here. And I just want to tell the viewers, think outside of the box. Do not go with the phrase, well, it just run in the family and everything. Be that person in your family that changed the cycle. Think outside of the box. Believe in yourself. Believe in your higher power, and you can do it because we are living proof. So love yourself. And you can follow me on IG. I'm on IG right now at Travel Sargent. That's TravelSargent. So Travel Sargent, and we will be on IG and helping you out with your travel experiences.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank everybody for tuning in to the show today. I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Nikki said, and that is, if you want to be different, you got to do different. Yes. That's just the key. And speaking of that, hey, that sounds like a Monique J thought. So, as I promised, we're going to end the show, each episode, with a Monique J thought, which is something coming from my special mind that I have, that I just wake up and come up with these thoughts or quotes that I just want to share with others in hopes that it can help provoke thought within yourself for change. So the Monique J thought for today is: never allow everyone to sit in the front row of the theater of your life. You ponder on that. You figure out what that means. Does everybody deserve a front row seat? If they don't, move them accordingly. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Weekly Wind Down, exclusively on the For All Women of Color Network on Roku.